Happy Thursday. Welcome to ATI Pro Media, powered by Advanced Trading. There's panic in the streets. Everybody's buying grain. We got to buy the grain before it runs out. We got more flash sales this morning. Big week of corn exports. November options, they expire tomorrow. We got the Drought Monitor here today. Cattle on feed report tomorrow. We're going to run through a lot of things here today. Welcome to the show. Let's go to the LaSalle Street and talk about your markets first. Corn's up 3.5. Dees corn at 422.5 right now. No, beans up nearly 10 cents, 10.07. Good to see. Chicago wheat, KC wheat. Chicago wheat's up 3.5. KC wheat is up a penny. Feeder cattle, they're bouncing back after an ugly day yesterday. Feeders up $1. Fat cattle up 50 cents. Lean hogs down 40 cents. A little red on the board. Switching over, looking at crude. Crude up 55 cents. Diesel up 2 cents. Nat gas up 9 cents. Looking over at the Dow, Dow's down 92 points, S&P up 13, and the NASDAQ up 123. Bring in my guest, my co-host, the one and only Connor Bridgman. Welcome, Connor.
Hey, how's it going? Here we go. Exports, right? That's been the name of the game this week, and it's not ending today.
More on the screen. I love it. Let's keep them coming. So had flash sales today, 227,000 metric tons of corn to Japan, 165,000 metric tons of corn to unknown. Got some beans on the books too, 198,000 metric tons of beans to unknown. God, Connor, they just keep coming and coming. Somebody's freaking out here. Somebody wants some grain.
That unknown destinations continues to pop up, We had a fantastic week on corn exports and really good on soybeans too. Yeah, weekly corn sales is the fourth largest in 10 years. I think it's the biggest since like May of 2021. And then also soybeans, I think soybean exports for the week ended was the second largest for any week in over a year. So exports, I think it's fair to say exports are on fire, Brady.
On fire. I like it. Here's a flash look at the weekly, because every Thursday we get the weekly export sales for the previous week, and that corn at 141.8 million bushels. Trade was looking for 87 to 130, so exceeding that range there. And then beans, up there in the upper end of the range too. Good to see. Good to see, yeah. Connor.
Here, while we're flashing graphs up, here's another one that just shows going back the past 10 years, right? We had see those green lines. We're talking some big sales in this corn market, fourth largest sale in the past 10 years. So
past 10 years, that's a long time. And to be the fourth largest, that's a big week, Connor.
Here, I'm going to put you on the spot. Here's the question is we're seeing these great exports, right? Not necessarily out of season, especially in soybeans, right? Good to see these corn sales. Are we seeing buying ahead of the election, right? Are we seeing importers want to get something on the books before potential headwinds that caused by the election? Or is this a tale of good times to come, right? Are exports going to continue to tick up?
Well, we can hope for the latter, but I'm nervous that it's just the former. Election fear, pre-positioning. I think it's going to be dynamic here in a couple of weeks. I think 50% of the country is going to be pissed off and upset. And I'm nervous, Connor. I'm a little worried and concerned, and I think this is front loading here ahead of the drama that will ensue down the road.
Yeah, I could see it too. So, but it's good to see. It's great price action for the tail end of harvest, right? It's really good to see. I've seen this before, and I'm not every year is different, right? Past performance isn't indicative of future results, but I go back to 2020 just because we saw a good. We rallied all of harvest, right? But we saw prices that we hadn't seen in previous years, and I saw multiple guys just sell it off the combine, right? Sell it and walk away. And I just want to say, if that, whatever way you're going, if you're outright bullish, outright bearish, right? Let's keep those emotions in check, keep some skin in the game, and make sure we're hedging correctly, right? That's always our message, isn't it, Brady? Let's make sure we're hedgers of this market.
It is. You're calming me down. You're bringing me back to earth, Connor. I like it. I need that sometimes. Okay. Don't want to get too bearish. Don't want to get too bullish here. But you're right. I talked to a number of customers and they say, hey, the balance sheet, 2 billion bushel carryout, 1.8 billion bushel carryout. That's not exactly bullish. Back in 2020, we had a 3 billion bushel carryout printed and then rallied $3 when we figured out that was wrong. So things change and those markets can move.
Absolutely. Last soapbox I have is when we're looking at good exports, that post harvest, check your local cash markets, right? I know if we stick grain in the bin, we get wrapped up with harvest. We want to turn that off and not think about moving that till January, February. But at basis, if our cash market tells us that we can move that grain, right, we know how to retain ownership if we want to stay in this market. But that's something to keep in mind, right? I'm seeing good bean basis numbers for Nov D's. Hopefully we could see some good corn numbers, right? That's the merchandising 101 we need to think about as the new crop becomes old crop.
Yep, absolutely. Indeed. Well, Nove options, they expire tomorrow, Connor. Talking about merchandising 101, marketing 101. A lot of options on the book that are going to get squared up. We've seen kind of a dynamic bean trade this week. I think up 27 cents here since we started the week. I think we're at 980 on Monday, and here Thursday we're at 1007 on the board. So markets are moving. Connor, we talked about the option open interest on November beans. There's a lot of 1040 strikes on the puts and the call side of things. I will be very interested to see if we can get up. Getting up to $10 was a feat. Can we get up to 1040 by tomorrow? That'd be a huge move.
That'd be fantastic. I hope so, right? That's that's a good move, right? That'd be big. But hey, we're up 9 right now. Well off the highs, right? High was 1012, we're at 1006. So we'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, a guy can be optimistic, right?
Absolutely. Maybe. Absolutely. So what else we got? Oh, Drought Monitor. We talked about it yesterday about how we wanted to see it. Let's pop that up. We got that released. Yeah.
Okay. Find that if we can. Here we go. Drought Monitor. Updated Drought Monitor. Boy, a large swath of the country here. We know the story, right? Large swath of the country has been dry, helping with that harvest pace, getting the crop out of the field. But a big swath in the Drought Monitor there. Looking at the 1 month change, flashing that up. A little improvement in the east there, looks like. I'd be interested to see if Buckeye Farm Boy, if he's had some improvement out there and what his situation is over the last month.
That's the month. Oh, that's the month-on-month change. Yeah. So
change.
Just significant, amazing how much dryness creeped in. Right, a month and a half ago. My gosh, the story when we pulled up the Drought Monitor, the story was there was no drought. It's amazing how fast it changes. So you don't have the year-on-year by any chance, do you? Not to put you on the spot.
On the spot, Connor. Ask and you shall receive. Here we go. Thanks to Mark Tulaski for pumping these out to us here early this morning, ATI broker Mark Tulaski. But here's the year-on-year change. I'm surprised, I guess I'm not. We've been very fortunate over the last year, and we were, in a tough spot here in that southwest portion of Kansas. And I'm right on the edge of that green in Kansas. But year over year, interesting map to look at. I don't know what you garner out of that. What do you pick up out of that?
I mean, number one, it goes back to I look at Iowa and how dry they were going into 2023, right? Remember what kind of corn crop they raised in that dryness. But so we're still, even with them being dry this past month, we're still seeing improvement from where they were last year. Kind of surprised on Illinois that we're seeing that much dryness, right? I really thought Northern Illinois was drier this time last year, but interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yep, and it'll change going forward again. I think the bulls if you're bullish, you're kind of leaning on that, hey, we're dry right now, and it's going to impact and bleed over into next year's production. But we talked about that yesterday. Things can change pretty quick, and it seems like we go from drought to flood in the flip of a switch with that pattern change anymore. But
I think so. And I mean, unless it's some type of, I guess if we could see some type of extended drought, but I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, Brady. But if we're dry in December, Jan, and we're talking about how that's going to affect the 25 corn and soybean crop, it doesn't at all, right? Dryness in January has no effect.
Oh, come on, Connor.
You can argue with me all you want, but right, I heard this story last year that we were dry going into it, and look at the yields we're harvesting right now. So
true.
Time will tell. We like looking at the Drought Monitor, but
that must be a testament to our American farmers and the job that they do out there.
Absolutely.
Kicking
different
butt and
story for
grain.
you, and for you in Kansas, right? We're planting that wheat crop. Different story, right?
Yeah, they need some moisture to get that stand established, but we got some time here. And if it's mild and then we get some snowfall types, wheat is a very forgiving crop.
Right.
But yeah, 95% of U.S. hard red wheat is hard winter wheat is in drought though the last 30 days, 60% over the last 60 days. So it's definitely dry out here, and we need some help. But
I wonder, this would be hard to pull up, but you're talking about 95% of the winter wheat is in drought. Let's look at the global, global wheat market, right? What percentage of the entire wheat crop is in a drought, right? If we start factoring in Ukraine and Russia, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can get that quickly, but it just poses a question, right?
Yeah. Well, interesting. I mean, Black Sea wheat is huge implications on our demand. Then you got Argentina down there. They raise a significant amount of wheat down there, and then Australia. They're on the flip side of it, though. Their growing season's on the opposite end of us as we're planting their harvesting. But yeah,
Right.
globally important. So,
Right. Well, let's last thing we
cattle.
got, cattle on
Yeah,
feed. Let's talk
Cat,
about it.
cattle on feed report tomorrow. We'll have some numbers out after the report comes out after the show. But yesterday cattle had a tough day. There was definitely more sellers than buyers, and the macro market weighed on cattle. The Nasdaq was down 400 points when cattle. It was interesting. The Nasdaq's down 400 points at 1 o'clock, and then cattle markets close, and then the Nasdaq rallies post close. And I think that's we didn't get to see that bounce after 1 o'clock because the cattle market was closed, but the equities kind of bounced off their lows, which was good to see. But the choice cutout did have a down day yesterday after a $30 run here over the last month. The choice actually rolled over and sold off $2. The higher cutout that supports the Packer margin. The Packer margin supports higher cash, and higher cash supports feeders' appetite to go out and buy those replacement feeder cattle and be bullish down the road long term. Connor, this is my short moment here. Okay, make a short out of this, JoJo. The supply story on the cattle side of things, it's not going away. The future of your beef market, it's all about demand and the macro market going forward. I'm still a believer that next year there's a scenario that we can see $300 feeders, 180 feeders, and quite possibly both over the next year. So have a plan to manage that. Have a plan to manage that type of volatility. At ATI, we've got tools, LRP options, and a strategy that can help you make the most of the market opportunities that lie ahead this year. That's
I
my
like it.
soapbox mix.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, with that, I don't think we have any questions. I thought we'd get some talking about this exports, but maybe I think you and I get more excited about some of this stuff than the average populace, and that's just fine, right? This is what we do, and we love doing it. So, with that, any closing thoughts, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
420 corn, $10 beans. There's things that guys can be doing if they want to get proactive ahead of the election. So give us a call. We'll talk you through some of your options and choices. Have a good day.
See you, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.